In the summer of 1914, Europe was not at peace, but it was not yet at war. It existed in a condition far more dangerous, controlled instability. The continent was powerful, industrial, modern, and quietly terrified of losing everything it had built. Empires stretched across continents, navies ruled oceans, factories powered global trade. Europe stood at the height of its dominance. It believed progress was permanent. It believed civilization had outgrown catastrophe. That belief would shatter in weeks. World War I did not begin in chaos. It began in order. It began in systems, in mobilization timetables, in alliance obligations, in leaders who believed they could manage escalation. The war did not erupt because Europe was reckless. It erupted because Europe was confident, and confidence can be more dangerous than hatred. Part 1. The World Before the War, a Century of Stability. For nearly a century, Europe had avoided continental war. After Napoleon's defeat in 1815, the great powers established a balance. Conflicts occurred, but they were limited, managed, contained. This era became known as the Concert of Europe, a diplomatic system designed to preserve equilibrium. And it worked. Generations grew up believing large-scale European war belonged to the past. But peace had not eliminated rivalry. It had merely disciplined it, the illusion of permanent progress. By 1900, Europe felt unstoppable. Steel production surged, rail networks connected capitals, telegraphs transmitted information in seconds, medical advances reduced disease, electricity transformed cities. In London, Paris, Berlin, Vienna, the future felt radiant. Expositions showcased machines and inventions. Artists imagined bold, modern worlds. Philosophers debated destiny. It was an age of belief. Belief in reason, belief in science, belief in systems. What Europe did not understand was this: the same industrial power that built prosperity could manufacture destruction at unprecedented scale. The rise of nationalism. For centuries, loyalty belonged to dynasties. Now it belonged to identity, language, culture, shared memory. In unified nations like Germany and Italy, nationalism energized the population. In multinational empires like Austria, Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire, nationalism destabilized everything. The Balkans became a fracture line. Serbs, Croats, Bosnians, Bulgarians, each imagined independence. Austria-Hungary governed many of them. Russia claimed to protect Slavic peoples. National identity became political force, and political force demands expression. Militarism, preparation as identity armies expanded. Conscription normalized military service. Military spending increased annually. War colleges refined strategic doctrine. Generals studied maps obsessively. Mobilization plans became sacred. The German Schlieffen Plan envisioned a rapid strike through Belgium to defeat France before Russia could mobilize. France prepared Plan 17, an aggressive counteroffensive into Alsace-Lorraine. Russia relied on mass mobilization. Railways were integrated into war plans. Mobilization schedules were timed to the hour. These plans were not aggressive fantasies, they were defensive responses, at least in the minds of those who designed them. But once mobilization began, it could not easily be reversed. Stopping meant paralysis. Continuing meant escalation. The naval arms race Britain ruled the seas. Germany sought parity. When Britain launched HMS Dreadnought in 1906, a revolutionary battleship, it rendered older fleets obsolete overnight. Germany responded. Shipyards worked relentlessly. Each dreadnought built by one nation required another in response. Naval superiority was no longer luxury, it was existential security. Fear drove production. Production increased fear. Alliances, the locked system. Europe divided into two major blocs, the Triple Entente, Britain, France, Russia, the Triple Alliance, Germany, Austria, Hungary, Italy. Alliances promised protection, but they created interdependence. A conflict between two nations now risked drawing in four. The system reduced flexibility. Diplomacy became entangled in obligation. Europe became a sealed pressure chamber. And sealed systems cannot absorb shocks without consequences. Part 2. Sarajevo and the July Crisis, the assassination, June 28, 1914. Archduke Franz Ferdinand travelled to Sarajevo. His visit symbolized imperial authority in a region simmering with nationalist resentment. A group of young Bosnian Serb conspirators prepared to assassinate him. The first attempt failed. Later that day, through miscommunication and chance, the Archduke's car turned onto a side street where one conspirator stood. 2 shots. The Archduke and his wife were dead. Europe reacted with shock, but not panic. Political assassinations were not unprecedented. Most believed diplomacy would contain it. They underestimated momentum. Austria-Hungary's calculation. Austria-Hungary viewed the assassination as an opportunity. The empire feared disintegration. Crushing Serbian nationalism could reassert dominance. Germany offered what became known as the blank check, support if Austria acted. Austria issued an ultimatum to Serbia, intentionally severe. Serbia accepted most demands, but not all. Austria declared war. Russia mobilized to defend Serbia. Germany mobilized in response. France prepared. Britain watched Belgium. Mobilization timetables activated. Trains moved. Armies assembled. No one wanted to be last, because last meant vulnerable. When systems replaced judgment. By late July, leaders were no longer deciding whether war was wise. They were calculating whether delay meant defeat. Military schedules constrained political options. Mobilization became momentum. Diplomacy collapsed under speed. War began not from desire, but from inability to halt escalation. Part 3. The war no one expected. The illusion of a short conflict. Crowds celebrated mobilization. Young men marched with confidence. Newspapers predicted swift victory. Few imagined stalemate. Few imagined years. Few imagined annihilation. The Western Front, stalemate. Germany invaded Belgium to outflank France. Britain entered the war. The German advance reached the Marne, but was stopped. Both sides dug trenches, hundreds of miles of trenches, from the North Sea to Switzerland. Machine guns dominated open ground. Artillery reshaped landscapes. Barbed wire halted charges. Offense became suicide. Defense became survival. The war froze. Life in the trenches, mud-filled boots. Waterlogged earth swallowed bodies. Rats multiplied. Artillery never ceased. Shell shock emerged. A new psychological trauma. Time distorted. Days of boredom punctuated by seconds of terror. Letters, home-censored reality. Families waited and waited. The Eastern Front, fluid but brutal. Unlike the West, the Eastern Front remained mobile. German forces defeated Russia at Tannenberg. Austria-Hungary struggled. Russian armies suffered catastrophic losses. Eventually, war exhaustion fueled revolution. In 1917, Russia collapsed. The Bolsheviks seized power. They exited the war, but instability replaced imperial rule. The Ottoman fronts. The Ottoman Empire joined the Central Powers. Battles erupted in Gallipoli, Mesopotamia, Palestine. The Middle East became battleground. The Armenian genocide unfolded. one of the war's darkest chapters. Imperial collapse began long before 1918. Total war. The war expanded beyond battlefields. Factories became strategic targets. Women entered industrial labor in unprecedented numbers. Rationing began. Propaganda intensified. Civilian morale became military asset. Governments controlled information. Entire societies mobilized. War was no longer fought only by soldiers. It consumed nations. Part 4. Escalation without exit. The War of Attrition, Verdun, the Somme, Passchendaele, names that became synonymous with mass death. Hundreds of thousands died for yards of ground. Victory meant survival. Retreat meant admitting sacrifice had been meaningless. Each offensive justified the last. Loss demanded continuation. Technology of destruction, poison gas drifted across trenches. Tanks rolled across shell-cratered earth. Submarines hunted merchant ships. Airplanes conducted reconnaissance and combat. Modern war accelerated innovation. Innovation accelerated killing. The industrial age revealed its shadow. America enters German unrestricted submarine warfare resumed. The Zimmermann telegram proposed German support for Mexico against the United States. Public opinion shifted. In 1917, the United States entered the war. Fresh troops arrived. Financial and industrial support strengthened the Allies. The balance shifted. Part 5. Collapse 1918, the final push. Germany launched a massive spring offensive. Initial success. But exhaustion prevailed. American reinforcements strengthened Allied lines. A counteroffensive began. Central powers faltered. Austria-Hungary fragmented. The Ottoman Empire collapsed. Germany faced internal unrest. On November 11, 1918, an armistice was signed. The guns fell silent. After 4 years, after nearly 20 million deaths. Part 6. Peace that failed, the Treaty of Versailles. The treaty blamed Germany, imposed reparations, reduced military capacity, redrew borders, created new states in Eastern Europe. It promised stability, but it embedded resentment. Humiliation replaced reconciliation. Economic strain replaced recovery. The war ended, but its tensions endured. Final reflection. The lesson. Beneath the battles, World War I was not inevitable, but it was predictable. It emerged from confidence in rigid systems, fear of vulnerability, alliances that limited flexibility, mobilization plans that replaced diplomacy. Each decision in isolation made sense. Together, they destroyed an era. The war reveals something unsettling. Modernity does not prevent catastrophe. It can accelerate it. Preparation does not guarantee control. It can eliminate restraint. In the final days of July 1914, there were still moments of hesitation, moments when leaders could have paused, but the system moved faster than caution, and once it moved, it did not stop. The tragedy of World War I lies not only in the trenches, it lies in the confidence before them, in the belief that rational planning could contain escalating fear, in the silence before the first artillery barrage when the world still had time and did not know it.